Oh man, I never in a million years could have thought that my life would be incredible as it is now. I could get to do the two things I love most in the world. So, yeah, I never thought like I'd work for a department that helped me and worked with me so much, and TNA's been so cool about my other job schedule. It's just been fantastic. It's the perfect balance for me. And
Yeah.
I know I always wanted to be a firefighter and a paramedic, and I've done that, and I definitely made the right decision there. But I also love wrestling. I just never thought from the outside looking in I could, that people would work with me to where I could balance the two. But lo and behold, it's worked out, and I couldn't be happier.
Do you get recognized sometimes when you're on call as a paramedic?
Oh yeah, quite a bit.
It's going to be odd. Yeah. Did I just hear a story recently that
kind of weird?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, sometimes it gets kind of weird.
Yeah. Did I hear a story recently that you were able to put your training to the test at a wrestling show, at a wrestling event, something?
Well, I helped PJ Whitmer when he almost got his neck broken in Ring of Honor. I secured his because the EMTs on scene kind of froze, so I saved him. And then, we were on a flight back from England, and we had a medical emergency. We had a medical emergency on the plane, and this lady had an abnormally slow heartbeat that was going to, probably end up taking her out. And I was able to, I showed her my license. They have a medical bag, and I gave her some. I started an IV and gave her some drugs, and we ended up saving her. So it was a feel-good moment. A very long flight.
You were traveling for wrestling at the time?
Yeah, we were coming back. So we did a TNA tour, the 3 days in Manchester, Glasgow, and London. And me and Eddie Edwards, being independent wrestlers at heart, we stayed another week and did some independence, and it was on the flight home from that.
Yeah. So you carry your gear with you at the time, your medical gear?
No, they have an actual medical bag on all commercial flights.
Oh, you just knew how to use it.
Show them, you have to be able to show your paramedic or your nursing license to be able to get into it. So I just showed them my license. They let me into it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's such a valuable skill set in wrestling, considering the danger that you guys put yourselves in every night. Aside from the BJ Whitmer incident, have you found yourself that skill being valuable in other ways, just routinely? I mean, do you check guys out? Do guys ask you to check them out?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think I may have got my job in TNA because Dave Lagana sprained his ankle really bad, and I taped it up back in Ring of Honor. So that may have got me a job in TNA. Yeah.
Just such a valuable skill set and such a rare one. So talking about your 2014, the issue that's on sale right now is the year-end awards. A lot of people thought the Wolves should be 2014 Tag Team of the Year. You ended up placing second runner-up behind the winners, the Usos, and first runner-up was Red Dragon. How do you evaluate the Wolves 2014? In your mind, were you guys the best tag team in all of wrestling? And what do you think of those other teams?
Yeah, I'm very arrogant towards the Wolves, and I don't hold that back. I think we're by far and away, without a doubt, the best tag team in the world. I don't think anyone else can come close. So that's my arrogance speaking. That being said, I think the Usos are awesome. I think they're great. They bring a lot of energy, and they're an actual tag team. But you can put two guys together, and that's not really a tag team. It's just two guys team. Usos are a very original and very authentic tag team. So a lot of respect for them. And then Red Dragon, obviously, I helped a lot in helping Kyle O'Reilly where he's at. And he's taking the ball and just ran with it. He's awesome, and they're great guys. Great tag team, all the respect in the world. They're doing great in Japan, and I love watching them stuff. And I got nothing but respect for both teams. But I mean, if I'm to be honest, I'm just that's what you want. I think the Wolves are far better than any tag team in the world in America, Japan, Mexico, whatever. And 2014, I realized that was our first year in Impact Wrestling, and we were really faced with some big obstacles between the Hardys and the Dudleys and ladder matches, Full Metal Mayhems and all those things. And those were, Full Metal Mayhem I did with a broken leg. So, I mean, it's, we definitely, I think, shined. And, and 2015 is going to be even better. We're off to a great start. And now we're comfortable in Impact. When you first do a company, you're very nervous. You want to step on toes. Now we're comfortable. Now we're ready to step on some toes and really, unleash everything. So it's going to be a very memorable year. I'm very excited for it.
You mentioned the Full Metal Mayhem match with the Dudleys and the Hardys, and that also placed for Match of the Year. I think third runner-up for Match of the Year. Can you go back to that night? You know, what made that match so special? And as somebody who I imagine grew up watching those teams, it must have just been surreal to be part of a three-way ladder match. You know, thinking about those classic ladder matches between those teams, and also involving Edge and Christian, to kind of be taking the place of Edge and Christian in those kind of matches. Again, must have been just nuts.
Yeah, it was absolutely a surreal moment. Those guys were nothing but courteous and nothing but helpful, and really wanting to give us the spotlight. And Devon had a really bad torn groin. Matt had a broken toe. I had a broken leg, and we pulled it off. And everyone just really put themselves last and really put the match first. And it was I couldn't be more thankful, man. Those guys made us, in my opinion, and it was a very special moment I'll always have with me.
Yeah. So you spent a lot of your career in Ring of Honor, and I know you didn't leave in the best of terms. A lot going on over there with them. Do you follow the product at all? Any thoughts on what's become of Ring of Honor since you left the company?
To be honest with you, I'm so busy now. I'm in school for flight medic. I'm a full-time firefighter medic. I wrestle full-time, so I really don't have time to watch any wrestling. So I don't follow the product. That's not the knock their product. I don't follow anything. I don't have a whole lot of time. Really, I have no time. Hey man, things happen. Things are in the past. You know what I mean? And we had a disagreement. We both could have handled it a lot better. And I've actually emailed Ring of Honor and apologized. I'll openly apologize now. That's fine. I got no problem owning up to my mistakes. And I was a very different person then, and I have found my balance. It's the same balance as why I would never go to WWE. It's not that I don't like their product. I don't think they're an incredible company. I think they're awesome. I have my balance is I need time to be Davey, then I need time to go home and be Wes. You know what I mean? And that's just my balance. I didn't have that then, and I see now how vital that is. So I was a very different person then, and when I get too much into wrestling, I kind of go crazy, and it's just the bottom line. So for me, now that I have, my firefighting and my paramedics, that balances me out to where I absolutely love wrestling. So getting back in my very long-winded roundabout answer, I don't follow the product, but I hear nothing but good things, and I wish them nothing but the absolute best. Hope they continue to grow and just really keep on incredible shows, and I'm very, very happy.
What do you think about just kind of the general landscape right now with Ring of Honor always kind of increasing its profile? Now they're on pay-per-view, filling in the void that WWE and TNA have left from pretty much abandoning pay-per-view. And obviously you got WWE, you've got TNA in a new home with kind of a new look and a new profile, and then you've got NXT growing not just as WWE's developmental, but as kind of a brand in itself. You've got stuff like Lucha Underground, these new creative ways of doing wrestling. You've got New Japan with a higher profile now with their weekly show on Axis. Is it a good time to be a pro wrestler?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to be a pro wrestler all over the country. The United Kingdom has a ton of talent, and obviously Japan's never been short on talent. Yeah, in the United States too, it's absolutely great, man. There's tons of avenues and different paths guys who make a living and kind of express themselves in the ring, and I think it's great, man. I think it's a really exciting time, and we have things growing and popping up all over, new wrestlers and new names all over. It's going to be great to be a fan as well, so it's a good experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you also have a passion for martial arts training, and obviously there's been a lot of news as of late with CM Punk going over to MMA. There's always talk of whether Brock Lesnar returns to UFC. There's talk of the former Alberto Del Rio maybe flirting with returning to MMA. Is it something you've thought of? And I know that you train, but competing professionally, is this something that you've considered?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the kind of person where, once you have, I can really relate to guys like Brock, because once you have that athlete's mindset, which I developed it in high school and college wrestling, I'll always have that, and you always have that willingness and that need to test yourself against others. So Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, my schedule right now doesn't obviously allow it, but you know, I mean, I don't know how much longer I'll be wrestling. We'll just see what happens. But I would love to compete. You know, win, lose, or draw. It's more for me the fulfillment of just knowing you tried. So yeah, that's never out of the question. I love martial arts. I love sports in general, and anything that's competitive in nature really, you know, kind of, you know, spikes my interest. So it's never too far off for me.
Yeah. When Punk made the announcement that he was going over to UFC, there was obviously a lot of naysayers who said that there was no value in pro wrestling crossing over to MMA. There's nothing that there's no skill or nothing you pick up from a career in wrestling that translates into MMA. What do you think about that? I mean, are there components of pro wrestling that would be valuable in the cage, in an octagon?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, absolutely. You know, people. I mean, I can already tell by people who are saying that I've never been in a wrestling ring before, because the thing is, a lot of pro wrestling is amateur and folk style and catch wrestling. It just gets modified, you know. So, you know, because we're not trying to kill each other out there, but it's the same rules, you know. And on top of that, a really big benefactor that people really discount is Punk's going to be very comfortable in front of a live audience.
Right.
Whereas a lot of fighters that are getting their break in front of that huge UFC audience, they crumble under those lights, man. It's a very surreal feeling, and he's going to be used to that. He's going to be able to keep a level head. And on top of that, too, you know, he's not coming from off the couch into the cage. He's an athlete. He's been training like an athlete for a very long time. So, I mean, and on top of that, too, man, the thing is, man, is life is not about winning and losing, man. It's about trying to put yourself out there so you know yourself. So I have nothing respect for someone who's going to go out there and may very well get the living, you know, crap kicked out of him. He may very well win, too. But regardless, he's going to come away saying that he did that. And that deserves a lot of respect in and of itself.
Yeah, yeah. So let me close it out by asking you about your future and the future of TNA in general. I was talking to Dan last week on the podcast about how, you know, there was all this buzz going into the reboot, the relaunch of TNA on Destination America. And now, for whatever reason, I feel like it's quieted down a lot. And in general, there is not as much talk about TNA as there was even late last year. And I don't know if that is, again, a smaller audience in Destination America, that lag time between tapings, that it's hard to break news when things are so old by the time they air. What are your thoughts about where TNA is now and what the future of it is on Destination America?
I think where it is now is definitely in a positive place. You know, it's definitely smaller, but it's positive and it's definitely growing. Both the channel and the company, and you know they're making a lot of changes, and maybe they work out, and maybe they don't. I don't really know. So I mean, I mean, for me, where I'm at, all I can do is show up and try to make a mark and try to steal a show every night, which I think me and Eddie are very, very good at doing. And you know, that's our thing. It's really just like Punk and MMA. You know, I don't know whether TNA will be the next biggest thing ever or go out of business tomorrow. I don't know. That could be said for any company. All I do know is that I know I'm going to go there and be able to walk away when it is my time to walk away and say when I was there, I gave it 100% and I left my mark. So that's really what's important to me.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Davey. I appreciate it. Fan of your work, and keep up doing good work there in TNA.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a good day.
You too, man.